Janet, try it like it, create it. And today I'm going to be working with some ribbon from Gwen Studios. And what I have in front of me is 2 thicknesses of a satin ribbon. So I have the smaller, which is about 1/4 of an inch wide, maybe 3/8 of an inch wide, and then some larger that's about 1/2 an inch wide. Now you can do this project. This might be 5/8 of an inch. And I've cut the pink one to about somewhere between 4 and 6 inches, and then a little bit longer for the green because we're going to turn it into a bow, but then we'll cut the ends off. It's just easier to tie the bow with a longer piece. I have some wet glue. I have some super glue. It could also be like a fabric tack if you have that. I have a clip. I have my large paper clip. I have a needle that is threaded with a light colored thread. And then I have some green paper that I have cut down to the width, just a little bit larger than the width of my paper clip and twice the height. All right. And then the second piece is the same, except it's just a teeny bit wider. All right. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our paper clip together. So the smaller of the two, we're going to fold over and put our clip on it. All right, and I'm going to leave a little bit sticking up at the end. All right, so just a little bit up above the paper. Then I'm going to take my other one, and for this one I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Here is the flower paper clip that we're going to be making. All right, I inked the bottom of mine. I'm not sure I like the look of that, but that is an option. All right, now this time I'm going to take mine and cover it with washi tape just for a little bit of a different look. All right, so I'm cutting it longer than my paper. And because it's so thin, I'm just going to fold it to the back side and stick it down. All right. And this will be the outside of our paper clip. Now I'm going to fold this in half. Now at this point, you have 2 options. All right. You can cut a slit up here for the paper clip to fit through, or you can just cut this in half and put it on either side of the paper clip. All right, so if you're going to cut it in half, you're going to take your X-Acto knife and cut a slit right in there. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to be off camera for a minute because I'm going to be on my glass mat to cut that slit, but then I will come back and show it to you. All right, so I used my knife, and hopefully you can see there that I cut a slit, and I can then lift up my paper clip a bit and stick it through that cut. All right, and I may not have gotten all the way across. I'm going to work on that just a little bit more here. I didn't get all the way through. All right. So paper clip sticking up a little bit, and I'm going to stick it through that opening. And then those pieces should line up pretty well at the bottom. Anything that's extra, you can just trim away. And so what I'm seeing here is a little bit of the inside piece needs to be trimmed. So I'm just going to trim a very small piece away and line those up. And then I'm going to push that paper clip back down because I just want a bit of it to stick up so I can attach my ribbon flower to it. All right, now this gets glued with wet glue. All right, so I'm going to take my wet glue and I'm going to start on the back side here, And just make sure that I have glue everywhere, especially down and around the edges. And then we can push this into place. Pinch it tight, especially on the sides of the paper clip. If your paper clip isn't straight, this is now the time to kind of straighten everything out. And now on this side, I'm going to cover the paper on the outside and inside of the clip with wet glue and push this down in place. And then pinch along the side, so it's going to even like round around the paper clip shape some. And if you look at the sides, we want to make sure that everything is nice and pinched tight and glued. Okay, see how this is open? We don't want that. We want to pinch it closed. All right. Now you can make this piece larger. I like the small size of it because it's more stem-like for the flower. All right, so pinch, pinch, pinch. In fact, the very first one I made it with a much larger piece of paper and then cut it down after it had glued tight. So either way, that's a good option. All right, so just make sure everything is nice and secure there. And then you can set this aside to dry. And then we'll get working on our flower. All right, so let's set that aside. Now, to create your flower, you're going to take one of the colored pieces, which is your flower. It could be any color. I'm working with pink this time. And we're going to take it and fold it like so. All right, so it's kind of at a 90-degree angle. All right, and then we're going to take this piece and flip it over so it lines up with that piece there. All right, so just like that, so we get this point up here. All right, so I'll do it again. We take our piece, we fold it at 90 degrees. You can go a little further than 90 if you want. And then take it and fold it over so those two pieces line up. All right, and so there is the point that we want, and these pieces down here line up. Now we're going to take our clip and clip that together. All right, now you can use either side of this point. All right, and if I bring in this one, you can see that point is hiding down inside. Oops, there we go. That point is hiding down inside, and both sides look like a flower. So whichever side yours ends up looking best is what you'll be using. All right, now we take our second piece and we're going to fold it in half. All right, so we've got this fold. We're going to take that fold and put it behind the pointed piece, but very close, almost close to the top. Okay, so you can see how much I have there. All right, and I'm going to use my clip again to hold that in place. All right, once again, make sure everything is lining up. It's just easier if it does. You can still manipulate, all right, but I find it still works a whole lot better if you've got things lined up before you move on. All right, so there we are. So now these two tails that are sticking out up here, you're going to take the first one, you're going to fold it once again at a 90 degrees behind that point. All right, and then take that ribbon and flop it over so it lines up at the bottom as well. Hold on to everything with your fingers and then put your clip back in place. All right, and you want to move that over to the side a little bit. Okay, and we're going to do the same on the other side. We're going to flop it over, tuck it behind the point that's in the center and bring it around and to the front. All right, I'm going to take my clip away. I'm going to hold everything in place with my fingers. All right, now remember this back piece that's folded is very short, and so we want to hold on to that. Okay, and then we can open this up. We can manipulate it some. All right, but I'm going to hold on to it all like so, and then I'm going to take my needle and thread. Let me get my glue capped here so it doesn't dry out on me. All right, needle and thread. I've already threaded my needle and I've already tied a knot at the end. And then I'm just going to go in and out of this stack of ribbon. And you can see here I'm stitching down, kind of down below, down by the fold. All right, making sure everything is caught in my stitching. And I'm just going to go back and forth. I find going up and down a lot easier than just kind of trying to zigzag it, because I want to make sure that I'm going through all of my layers. I think one more stitch and we'll be good. All right, so now everything is held together. And now we can pinch that, all right, and pull on that thread. And we want to gather it up, and you can fold things in place. You can hold on to it. You want to pull on that until it kind of gathers. Now, something this small, it's very hard to gather, all right, but you can pinch it up tight like so. Okay, you can start to see the shape there. Now I'm going to just twist this around. All right, I'm just going to twist this around in place, and then I'm going to stitch that in place a few times, going through my layers. Make sure that loop is in front. Probably just tied a knot there, that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to stitch and go around and probably wrap again. If there's anything that is sticking out that you don't like, you can go ahead and stitch into it, tuck it in, whatever works. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot in the back, pulling tight on that. Okay, and then just for good measure, I'm going to do one more knot. Okay, and that one didn't cooperate that well. There's a loop there, that's okay. All right, and so now we can I'm going to leave the thread attached because we're going to tie a bow and then we're going to sew the bow to this piece. And now you can see that you can go in and fiddle with these pieces and fluff them out and turn this more into a three-dimensional bud shape and make it look however wide or however thin you want to make it look. All right. I'm just adjusting and manipulating. And you could even, if you want to pull this down a bit, you can stitch in and pull down on it. But you just want to tuck everything down here around your wrapping. All right. And so I'm just going to leave everything like so and leave the thread attached. So now I'm going to take my green ribbon. I'm going to make 2 loops. And just tie a knot with the loops. And if you pull, I'm going to end up with a bow, and it's going to be a little large for a project, and that's okay. Now we can adjust. All right, and this is the side I want to use. You can see that that's a nice flat piece there. I'm going to pull this in a little bit, pull this in a little bit, give it a twist, pull, make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, and then I can place that right on top of my flower, and I think I want it to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to pull on the tails. And if I pull the bows tighter, I'm going to get that center tighter. Pull those in again. Let's see, that size looks better to me. All right. And so now I'm going to take my thread, still attached to my flower, right? And then I'm going to go into the back where my thread is, and I'm going to go in and grab the back of the bow, but I don't want to come out on the front of the bow with the needle. All right, so I'm just going through the back of the bow, and I'm going to sew that into place, holding that in place where I want it. You can always fiddle with the flower later. All right, but I want to get the bow positioned, and then I want to come and stitch on this side of the flower. So now it's attached with one stitch. All right, so we can see what that looks like. We can still manipulate the front. All right, I'm going to put it in place again and go back through one more time. And then go through my flower all the way to the back side. Got mine looped around my ribbon here, so I'm just undoing it. All right, there we are. All right, so 2 little stitches. It's not a lot. It's not going to hold a lot. That's okay, because we're going to go into this with glue. All right, so I'm in the back now. I can tie a knot back here. And I like the knot to be right in the center because that's where we're going to apply glue. All right, and then we can cut that off. We don't need a lot there. All right, and now all of that pink can get cut off, and we want to cut it off up tight and behind the green ribbon. All right, so if you can't get it all in one go, that's okay. You can just go in here and clean up. I find it easier to hold on to it when it's longer. All right, but we want to hide it behind the green bow. All right, and I might need to cut a little bit more off. And you can see things are twisting on me because our stitches are just a few stitches, right? I want to make sure I don't get that green. All right, this is getting fuzzy back here. It's okay. Not using the best scissors for this. You can tell. Craft scissors, not fabric scissors. All right. And I'm okay with that, except that it's caught on my broken fingernail. All right, and now I can cut my green ribbon, and I have to decide how I want to do this. Okay, I want to go this way, short in the middle, longer to the outside, like that. All right, now I'm going to take all of this back over to my paper clip, and I'm going to attach it right here with super glue. So I want to attach some to the metal and some to the paper. You can see it's going to sit right in that area there. I'm going to take these threads and tuck them down behind. All right, so I can hide them on my paper clip. All right, so I want to position it to where everything is getting hidden. All right, stitching in the front is hidden. Stitching in the back is hidden. And then we're going to use super glue or fabric tack to hold all of this in place. Let me get these fuzzies out of the way here so we don't pick up to those. All right, so I'm going to take my glue, and I am not going to use a lot here. All right, I'm just using little teeny tiny dabs of, and this is a gel super glue, and I like this. My container might be running out on me. Okay, there we've got some. So very small amount. All right, for the first application, we're going to do a couple. All right, so just start with a very little bit so you can position what needs to be there first. All right, now I'm going to pinch tight, hold everything in place. All right, and once I like the look of where I've got everything, I have some stitches on the front here that I'm trying to hide. All right, so I want to stick everything together and hold it in there. And then I'm going to lift this up and go into the area behind the green and put some there and get that to stick. Same with the other side. And you can hit the bottom of the flower as well. All right, get those fuzzies out of there. Make sure everything is centered. And I'm kind of wrapping the green around the base of the flower. All right, so I want to get that centered a little bit better. And get this ribbon right into this side here. And I'm just going to hold it for a little bit to make sure that glue is grabbing everything. All right, and I feel some glue on my fingers. So now I need to tuck those threads in. And I'm okay with this metal piece sticking up a little bit, because that's what's going to give us stability with the connection between the paper clip and the flower. And we kind of glued to it as well. All right, so now things are a little bit wobbly still here in the front. So I want to go in with my super glue or fabric tack. And now I can go in this underneath section here. You can see I'm lifting up a little bit from the paper. So I need to get that back in place. All right, and this third application here is now tacking down the tail ends of our bow. Now, once the glue has dried and everything is well stuck, you can go in and, floof up your bow and floof up the flower, move things around a little bit so that it's looking the way that you want it to look. But there is our flower bud paper clip.